Yes, good morning, children. So here today we will start with the next phytohormone, and that is, I think we were left with the functions of ethylene. So now we will start with the functions of ethylene. Ethylene, the only gaseous phytohormone. So here I think that we were on the ethaphone, synthetic form of ethylene, which is known as ethaphone. And this is aqueous solution of ethylene. This is aqueous solution of ethylene. And what is the use of it is? It is used for the first use, which is the normally this is the basic use of ethylene, which is this is used for fruit ripening, artificial fruit ripening, artificial fruit ripening. The first function. The second function of this is thinning of the cotton fiber. Thinning of cotton fiber. Besides this, thinning of the walnut shell. Walnut shell. And one more function of this is it promotes formation of the female flowers in cucumber. It promotes formation of female flowers in cucumber. So this is the function of this. Now after this, the last phytohormone which we are going to study is ABA, which is also known as abscisic acid. Abscisic acid. This ABA, how it was discovered, or what is this known as? First, I'll tell you this is also known as growth inhibitor. Growth inhibitor. This is also known as a growth inhibitor. This was such three types of hormones, chemicals were discovered in mid 1960. In mid 1960, three such types of similar types, not such similar types of substances were discovered in plant, and those three were inhibition B. The second one which was discovered was abscission 2. And the third one which was discovered, it was Donmin. These were discovered in 1960, and they were found to be of the same chemical nature. Because of the same chemical nature, they were together named as abscisic acid. They were together named as abscisic acid. The abscisic acid was, first of all, it was isolated by Lin and Cran. Lin and Cran, they were the first to isolate ABA. They were the first to isolate ABA. And from where did they isolate it? They isolated it from mature cotton plant. So it was isolated from the mature cotton plant by Lin and Cran, and they were the first one to isolate abscisic acid. Then after this, we come to the functions of abscisic acid and how this is a growth inhibitor. This abscisic acid, it inhibits the growth by which way? What was its way of inhibiting the growth? It inhibits the growth. Abscisic acid inhibits growth by interfering with the with RNA translation. So RNA translation is interfered or blocked. So if RNA, which RNA? Messenger RNA is translated to form proteins. And this translation of messenger RNA to proteins is blocked by ABA. So no proteins are formed. Then when no proteins are formed, that means no growth. So growth does not take place. So it is a growth inhibitor by this way, by interfering with the translation of RNA. Now we come to the functions of abscisic acid. The functions of abscisic acid are: number one, functions. Number one, it initiates senescence. Initiates senescence. Senescence is aging process. Senescence is aging process. So in plants, the aging process is initiated by senescence, by ABA. That means if ABA is there, the aging process will be fast. At the same time, the second is it promotes abscission. Promotes abscission. ABSCISSION. Abscission is falling of leaf. Falling of leaf. What happens if there is a leaf? Suppose this is a leaf which is growing here. This is a leaf. Now here where it is attached, here a zone is formed. This zone is known as abscission zone. This abscission zone is because of the action of ABA. Now what happens? This abscission zone has suberin in it. Suberin. SUBERIN. Suberin is a substance which is impervious to water and impervious to gases. So this is suberin, is I'm writing here suberin, SUBERIN, which is impervious to gases and water and other substances, water minerals. Okay, water and minerals. So what happens when this zone is formed? This zone has suberin in it, so no oxygen will be transmitted, and no water minerals from here will be transmitted to the leaf. So what will happen? This leaf will fall from there. So this promotes abscission. Abscission means the falling of the mature leaf, the leaf which become yellow or the leaf which are mature, they fall. Then they promote dormancy in the seeds. The third point is promote seed dormancy. Seed dormancy is dormancy is the time when the seed, even if all the situations are favorable, all the conditions are favorable, the seed doesn't grow. That is known as seed dormancy. The seed doesn't germinate. So this is failing of the seed to germinate even in the presence of all the factors which favor germination. So such factors, even if such factors are present which favor germination, but the seed doesn't grow, we call it seed dormancy. Now this particular phytohormone, which is ABA, it promotes seed dormancy. That means it doesn't allow seed to germinate, and this is something favorable. Why this is favorable? Because if the seed dormancy will be there, if the seed will not be able to germinate, that means if there are some unfavorable condition, the seed can remain hidden inside its coat and will not germinate, so it can overcome the unfavorable situation. So by promoting seed dormancy, the seeds overcome the unfavorable conditions. The seeds overcome the unfavorable conditions by promoting seed dormancy. So this is another thing which is happening. Then at the same time, when it is promoting dormancy, that means the hormone also promotes or not promotes, inhibits. It inhibits seed germination. So another point, it inhibits seed germination. This hormone also inhibits seed germination. Now another feature of this hormone is it initiates closing of stomata. Closing of stomata. The stomata, under the action of this hormone, they close in when it is very hot or when it is very dry. In very hot and very dry conditions, very hot and dry conditions, the stomatas close. Very hot and dry conditions, the stomatas close. So when the stomatas close, that means the plant protects itself from very hot and very dry condition. And when the conditions are very hot, very dry, that means these are stress conditions. So that is why this particular hormone, it protects the plants from the stress conditions. So this is also known as stress hormone. Stress hormone. This particular hormone, that is why is known as, also known as stress hormone. At the same time, this hormone also promotes bud dormancy. It also promotes bud dormancy. That means the buds are also they remain in the hidden form. They do not bloom up under the action of this hormone, and they are protected. So these are the functions of the hormone which we were studying, that is ABA, abscisic acid. We come to the next topic of this chapter, which is photoperiodism. So the hormones we have finished. The hormones are done. Now we are on to the next topic of the chapter, and the name of the name of the topic is photoperiodism. If we see the literal meaning of this, photo means light, periodism means duration. So duration of light. Photoperiodism means duration of light. So what duration of light we are talking about? We are talking about the duration of light for which the plant is exposed to. This is the duration for which the plant is exposed to light. Now here, how do we define what is photoperiodism? Photoperiodism is the effect of daily duration of light hours on the growth and development of a plant. So it is effect of daily duration of daily duration light hours, duration of the light hours of a plant, duration of the light hours, duration of the light hours of a plant, light hours on the growth and development of a plant. Effect of daily duration of light hours on the growth and development of a plant. Or we can also say that response of a plant to photoperiod, response of a plant Response of a plant to photoperiod expressed in the form of flowering. That means some plants, they are exposed to light for a short period of time and they flower. Some plants are exposed for a long period of time, then only they flower. And some plants are irrespective of the duration of the light for which they are exposed to it, and they flower in any case. So such plants which are exposed to a light for a duration of more than a which are exposed to the light duration which is more than the critical duration are known as long day plants. So we divide them into three types. One are LDP long day plants, another are SDP short day plants, and last one are day neutral plants, DNP, day neutral plants. So there are three types of plants. The plants which require duration of exposure to light more than the critical duration are this. So this is first, this is second, and this is third. So I'll write for the first one, what are LDP or what are long day plants? So these are plants which require duration, plants which require duration of exposure to light for more than critical duration. So when the plant which require duration of exposure to light for more than critical duration are known as long day plants. And for which duration? This is just for flowering. Why do they need light? For flowering. So these type of plants are known as number one, long day plants. Now short day plants, plants which require duration of exposure to light for less than critical duration for flowering. They are short day plants. And the third type are DNP or day neutral plants. They do not, some plants do not show any correlation between the exposure to light duration and induction of flowering. So here these are the plants which do not show, plants that do not show any correlation between exposure to light duration, exposure to light duration, and induction of flowering, and induction of flowering. These are known as day neutral plants. There are examples also of all the three types of plants. The first type of plants are, I'll write the example here. Spinach is one, radish is another in long day plants. Radish is another, oats are the third one in long day plants. The short day plants, number two, are sugarcane. Then we have another example, which is soya bean. Then we have another example, which is chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum. So these are the example of long day plants and short day plants. We have another type, day neutral plants. The example of day neutral plants are maize, tomato, and sunflower. These are the examples of the day neutral plants. So this is about the photoperiodism. That means some plants, they need to be exposed for a longer duration than the critical duration if we want them to flower. Some plants, they flower even in the short duration, shorter than the critical duration. Some plants, they flower irrespective of the duration of exposure to light. So this is for your photoperiodism. That means effect of the exposure of duration of a plant uh, to the light duration, for exposure of the light on a plant for a certain duration to induce flowering in that plant. Okay, so this is photoperiodism, how the plant shows its effect. Some plants, they flower in a short time, some plants flower in a long time, some plants are irrespective of the duration of the light exposure. So this was photoperiodism, which was second last topic of your book. We come to the last topic of the book, which is vernalization. Vernalization is also about the flowering of the plant, but here this is not with regard to the duration of exposure to light. This is not with regard to the duration of exposure to light, but this is with regard to the low temperature. The plants are exposed to low temperature. Vernalization, this is exposure of plants to low temperature to induce flowering. Exposure of plants to low temperature to induce flowering. This is about vernalization. So plants are exposed to low temperatures to induce flowering. So what is done in this? Plants are exposed to low temperatures, and this, because of exposing them to low temperature, the flowering is induced. Flowering is induced indeed. This was first of all studied by Lysenko, Lysenko. Lysenko, in the year 1938, he studied this process of vernalization. What did he study? He studied that the species of, say, wheat and barley. There are two species of wheat and barley. One is spring variety, and the another variety of wheat and barley is the winter variety. So there are two varieties of barley and wheat, spring variety and winter variety. The spring variety is sown in spring. Let's talk about the first one, the spring variety. This is the spring variety, is sown in spring, and when it is sown in spring, it produces grain, or it flowers, produces grains, which will also be known as flowering, or flowering takes place in it when? During summers, after spring, summers, in summers. Okay, sown in spring, produces grains, or flowering starts in summers. The second type, the winter variety. This winter variety is sown in winter, in winters, and it produces grains or shows flowering in summers. This also produces grains, or they show flowering in summers. And how do we have the season? We have the season like here, winters, then comes spring, then comes summer. So that means for the winter varieties, we have to wait for a long time from here to here. Whereas spring varieties, they produce grain in a short period of time. And for winter varieties, we have to wait from here to here for a long span of time. Okay, so what is done if this winter variety, we can, let's see if we can grow this winter variety in spring also. If this winter variety, two variety is grown in summers, number two variety, number second variety, winter variety, if it is grown in spring, in this season spring, it do not produce grain, it do not flower, or do not, or grains are not produced. If this winter variety, we will have to wait for a long span of time to see the winter variety flowering or producing grains for us. Now what is done, this particular researcher Lysenko, what he did, he, to get the crop, to get the grains from the winter variety by growing it in the spring and getting the grains in summer, he did a process, and that process is known as vernalization. In this process, he gave cold treatment, he gave cold treatment to the winter variety of winter variety of wheat. And by giving the winter cold treatment to the winter variety of wheat, this wheat was grown, was sown in spring. And what happened, even when it was sown in spring, it it produced grain in summers. So this is the cold treatment, and this is the process of vernalization, in which to induce flowering, or for to induce the grain production, the seeds are given cold treatment so that they become mature and start producing grain early, to get early yield. This is done, and this process is known as vernalization. So children, this was the last topic of the chapter, and the chapter is over. This plant growth and development, the chapter 11th class full syllabus is over, from except for the deleted portions. So whatever the syllabus was given by CBSE, that is over for your class. And you can tell me on WhatsApp that what shall I take next. It is the, you want the revision of the chapter, or any topic from the deleted portion you want me to take, that you can inform me today itself on WhatsApp. So you will do it just after the class. You can, or by the evening, you can send me the messages on the WhatsApp, that whether you want me to do something from the deleted portion, or you want me to revise the topics which we have already done. Okay children, is it clear, these topics which I have taught you today? The topics which I have taught you today, are these topics clear to you? Yes.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I think, okay. So shall I wait for your messages by 4 o'clock? It will be better if you message me by before 4 o'clock, say by 3 o'clock, so that I get your messages whether I have to repeat whatever we have done, or I have to do the new topics. That will be on the basis of um, the the comments which I get. If majority of you want that I should repeat, I'll repeat. If or revision revise, I'll revise. And if majority of you want that I should do some topics from the deleted portion, I'll do that. Okay. So just send, all of you whosoever are here in the 11th class, they can message me by 3:30, so that I can see and I can consider your messages. Okay children. So Monday's test, whatever we have done, not this, but whatever we have done till the auxins, till auxins. For Monday test, it's till auxins. Okay, this I haven't given yet in the test. This I'll include in the test, which will be on the next Monday. For this Monday, it's only up till auxins, which you will be getting in the test. Okay. So children, here the top, this is over. So any question, any query from your side? Yes, bache? Any question? Any query from your side? So I end the class because the time is over, and you can message me before 4 o'clock.